Mishna Yevamos, Parak Aleph, Chapter 1, Mishna Gimel, Mishna 3. So the Mishnah reads, Sheish Arayos. There are six of the Arayos, six of the women who are forbidden to be married to a person whose marriage to them or cohabiting with them would bring about a punishment of death. Chamuros me'elu, that are more stringent than these. These mean, we mentioned previously, 15 women, 15 arayos, that we say that they exempt their co-wife from yibum. That when they and a co-wife fall to yibum, to someone who the erva, who one of them couldn't marry because she was an erva to that person, the co-wife is also exempted. Now we're going to have six arayas, six examples of other arayas, of other such women that are considered more strict in the sense that mipnei nesuos la'acherim, because they are married to others, tzaraseyan mutares, their co-wives are permitted. Meaning, we're going to list now six women who, either again through blood relationship or through marriage, are going to be more stringent than the other 15 in the sense that they cannot marry your brother. The 15 women that we discussed until now, they cannot marry you, but they can marry your brother. But there are going to be six arayas, six such women, who can't marry you nor your brother, which means the possibility of yibum doesn't even exist. Forget about whether you may do yibum or not. The whole possibility of yibum doesn't even exist. And in that situation, their co-wives are permissible to you. Permissible to you not because of yibum, but they're permissible to marry. Just because that at some point of time they are a co-wife to someone who is an erva to you, right, does not necessarily make their co-wives forbidden. The co-wife only becomes forbidden in a situation where this co-wife and the erva were married to your brother, and a situation of yibum came about, and since the mitzvah of yibum can't be fulfilled on that co-wife, even though she's not related to you because she's a co-wife of the erva, once she becomes exempted from yibum, she attains the status of your brother's wife, where there's no mitzvah of yibum, and she's a 100% erva. But here we're going to have examples where there's not even a possibility of yibum with these women, and therefore their co-wives can marry you. So what are those examples? That's what it means. Sheish arayas chamuros me'elu. You have six arayas, six ervas, that are more stringent than the ones listed before, in that those 15 women before can marry your brother, and the following cannot, and therefore their co-wives are permitted for you to marry. What are those six women? The first one is imay, a man's mother. Now, let's remember something. Every time that mitzvah of yibum applies to your brother from your father, even if it's not your brother from your mother, but if it's a brother from your father, there's a mitzvah of yibum. Okay? Now, the first example that we have here is, let me just read him. Imay, his mother, ve'eshes aviv, his father's wife, who's not his mother, ve'achais aviv, and his father's sister, achaise me aviv, his sister from his father, ve'eshes ache aviv, the wife of his father's brother, ve'eshes ache me aviv, and his brother's wife from his brother, the wife of his brother from his father, where there's no yibum. So let's go through the six examples. His mother. Now the first two examples, we need to distinguish between them, because you have his mother and his father's wife. Now your mother can be your father's wife too. But the reason why we're mentioning his mother separately is because you can have a mother that's not your father's wife. Because if, let's say, the child was born out of wedlock, the father cohabited a woman and made her pregnant, they had a child. Okay? So it comes out that this woman is your mother, but she's not your father's wife. Now, the question is like this. You have a brother from your father. Okay? Meaning you are your father's child, but it's done out of wedlock, right? Mm-hmm. So now, this mother, your mother, who is not married to your father, but cohabited with your father, can she marry a different son from that man. She's not the father. She's not your father's wife because you never married her. But you fathered a child from her. Okay. Now if you're the child, if it's your mother, nothing to talk about. But what about your brother from your father? That same brother that you'd have a mitzvah of Yibum to, can he marry that woman? So the Mishna is saying, no, he can't. This is called Anusas Aviv. Someone that his father, that cohabited one's father, okay, at a marriage, the son of that man may never marry that woman, even though she never was married to your father, and even if it wasn't not your mother. But the mere fact that your father cohabited with her forbids you from marrying her. That is actually machlekes tanoim. But our Mishna is following the opinion that such a woman may not marry that woman who is your mother, but is not the mother of your brother, and wasn't even married to your father. She's still forbidden to you.
What if she was married? What if it's divorced?
That's a regular case of your father's wife. Now, so this is the first example of a woman who can't even have a possibility of Yibum because she can't marry your brother. So she's married to some other guy, and that other guy has another wife, and then he dies. You can go ahead and marry the co-wife because it's not a question of a co-wife in a situation of Yibum. The next example is Eishes Aviv, your father's wife. Your father. You can't marry her, and your brother from your father can't marry her either. It's his father's wife too. Next, Achva Achais Aviv, his father's sister, right? It's your sister, it's your father, it's your aunt from your father, and it's your brother's aunt from your father. Achais Semei Aviv. Or let's say it's your sister from your father, not from the same mother, but from the same father. Okay, well, if it's your sister from your father, she's forbidden to you, and she's forbidden to your brother from your father. Again, we're always focusing on a brother from a father because that's the only place where there's a mitzvah of Yibum. V'sheishes achi aviv, the wife of the brother of your father. You can't marry her, your brother can't marry her. V'sheishes achi me aviv, that final case is the wife of your brother from your father. Now that's typically an example of where Yibum would take place. However, it's talking about where there is no mitzvah of Yibum. He has children. He had children. So when he died, then there was no mitzvah of Yibum. So she's an erva of Eishes Achiv. She's your brother's wife, where there is no mitzvah of Yibum. She's an erva. She's an erva to you. She's an erva to your brother. Well, therefore, it comes out that she can never be married to your brother. There's no possibility of Yibum. And therefore, her co-wife, her co-wife that was married, she and another woman married to another man, and that man died. There's no mitzvah of Yibum. There's no Yibum to talk about. And you can't marry, of course, you can't marry the erva, but you can marry the tzara, the co-wife of the erva, because that co-wife was never married to your brother. And just because she's a fact that she's a co-wife to your erva makes no difference. Okay. All right. Chofetz Chaim continues. Kashabeis in Omrim. This is Klal Dalet, chapter 4, Sif Ches, paragraph 8. Kashabeis in Omrim la'adam din echad b'meshu b'kum ba'asei. If a bezdin tells a person, obligates a person to do something, bein shu devarim sheben adam la'makim, or devarim sheben adam la'chaverei, whether it be regarding matters between man and God, or between matters between a man and his friend, which means we're talking about a situation where I don't know exactly. I mean, there is a concept called kofen ala mitzvahs. A bezdin that has the power can force you to do a mitzvah. If a bezdin finds out you're not building a sukkah, they can call you in and tell you better build a sukkah. Okay, I don't know how relevant that would be nowadays. If they would do something like that, or there's nothing to enforce it. Or let's say matters between a man and his friend, which again nowadays, but they dinim rabbinical courts don't really have the power to enforce unless they call it, unless they get it to be called an arbitration. You can agree to make it be considered arbitration. But the point is here that the bezdin told this person to do something. He's not listening. He refuses to listen to the bezdin. And he doesn't have a good reason why he's not fulfilling it. So he has an obligation to listen to a bezdin. That's a very important obligation. And he, without any valid reason, is not listening. Mutar lesaper gnusai. you're allowed to say, you're allowed to tell others about, you're allowed to publicize his this negative information about him. You could put him down in a book, in a remembrance book for all generations about what he did. That's how serious it is when you don't listen to rabbinical court. Now let's see, he gives excuses. And these excuses, in order to really figure out if they're legit, that's something that it's in his heart. It's not something that is obvious. It's something that it really depends on, what's going on inside of him as to whether it's legit or not. The law is like this. If we discern that this response is only just to blow us off, but it's not sincere, we do not have to believe him. You're allowed to tell others about what he did wrong, and even again to record it. But if let's say it's a suffix, we're not sure. Maybe it's legit what he's saying. We're not sure. Then it would be forbidden for anyone to say over the fact that he's not listening to the Beis Din. So if he's not listening to a Beis Din, and we know that he is, and we discern that he does not have a legitimate reason why he's not listening, then we are allowed to publicize about this person. But if we're not sure that, maybe it's legit, maybe it's not, maybe it's a good excuse, maybe not, then already we have to be strict, and then we cannot go ahead and publicize it. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you, Rabbi.